Welcome, everyone. This is the Numbers Guy, Ron Stoffel, back with you on part two with my guest, Jack Rogers from the Minnesota Tea Party Alliance. Hopefully, you have seen segment one, and we're going to go into depth now on segment two. So, Jack, welcome back to the second half. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't express that enough. It's very nice of you to have me. When there's big people, you can have it down and make a difference.
Well, this needs to get out. You and I, have been with it a little bit longer than I have with the Tea Party, but it's a very important organization, and I think there's a misconstruing out there by a lot of people. So hopefully, this gives them an indication that we aren't aliens with horns and teeth. At least we'll keep those under wraps.
Right.
So what we will do now is go into kind of what our monthly meeting is, give you some insight into that, what types of speakers we have. And we have had speakers, and I'll preface this, that don't necessarily agree with everything the Tea Party is. We bring in people that give an indication to our membership of alternative views that they may not have heard before. We don't endorse people that come. We have everybody that comes there have an open mind to what they have, and they can do their own research. So contrary to what may be out there, we don't stack the deck, so to speak, with only people that agree with us. We've had people that disagree, that have different points of view, just like you would have in a marriage. Not everything is agreed to. So, Jack, if you can kind of go through the core principles, because that is the foundation of the Tea Party and the Minnesota Tea Party Alliance.
Yes, it's pretty easy if you keep it simple to have truth and liberty and living free come about. And so our core principles are free markets. We firmly believe that if you take your time and energy and resources and build a business and it creates a product and profits that the public wants, you should be the benefactor of those profits. The government shouldn't be standing there taking the first slices away from everything. And also in those free markets, we believe that you shouldn't be overregulated and over-controlled. The next thing is fiscal responsibility. And by that, we do not mean that politicians should raise the taxes on the backs of working people to balance a budget. They should live within a balanced budget, within means or budgets that relate to the things they're allowed to do. And constitutionally limited government, that's the handcuffs. We elect them, doesn't mean that we give them a full reign to do whatever they want. They're supposed to follow the Constitution. They're supposed to honor what they can and cannot do. And so if you take free markets, fiscal responsibility, tie it to the constitutionally limited government, that does give you a foundation to work from of truth. It does give you a way to vet candidates, and it does give you a solid base to build an organization around. And when we do invite people, we don't ask those invitees if they stand for this or against it or whatever, but we bring them in. There's a notable meeting that's well known throughout all the good Tea Parties in the state of Minnesota, where I brought somebody that was speaking on legalization of marijuana, and I brought somebody in that was speaking on churches, a pastor. And I got to tell you this, I got complaints from both sides. And my request to everybody listening that day was, see how what they say matches the Constitution. Don't match it to your emotions. Don't match it to what's profitable or not profitable for you, but match it to the Constitution. Very few people that did do that from that meeting, but the few that did called me and said, we know you're catching flack, but we applaud you for making us think, does it fit in that Constitution, which is so important? Mm-hmm. And you know what? If we had more of that, less spenders, less regulations, Minnesota would be an incredible state. So those are our core principles that guides us to living free. And real quick, I want to say how important the magazine is, because many times a person that speaks also ends up writing articles in the magazine. Yep. And it's another way, for example, we got a mayor that writes for us on a regular basis, and he's turned his city around. It's Mark Corin up in Oak Grove. And he's actually reduced the real taxes bill that goes to your home over several several years, and I can't remember what the figure is, but it's an incredible amount, and he's serving the people. And we have him write. We've had Chris Anhall write, Bob Davis write, Dave Benner, who's one of my favorite writers. Jake, my partner, writes a lot. So, and there's more. I just touched on the surface of that, but the written media is important. But we also have a podcast,
Yep.
and that podcast we bring people on there. We had Sheriff Joel Pio on. Oh, is that ever fun to be able to visit with a man like that on the podcast? We had Julia Schleising on, who is Miss Minneapolis. She talked about depression. My gosh, did she open up a lot of eyes. It was so good we asked her to write an article. She wrote the article, and people have been calling me and telling me about how much they liked what she had to say. And it goes on. Chris Anhall's a popular writer. Bill Galan, an incredible writer, he contributes. Oh my gosh, who am I missing? Walter Hudson. Oh,
yep.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep going on and on. I'll miss somebody, and I don't mean to miss somebody, but when you tie the meetings along with the print media, along with the digital media, it's something else. The message is getting out there, but it causes a little financial stress on Jake and myself. We don't have a godfather. We don't have some heavyweight writing checks each month to us. The bulk of this is made up on $3 and $4 and $5 donations by grassroots people. On occasion, we have a business person that will help us, like on the toolkit. We'll have sometimes another businessman writing checks to help us. To State Fair, we had help, and they're good conservative people, and that help is appreciated. So.
Then I guess the next thing would be to say, we at the meetings also then have people from the community. We've got the 1 minute minutes or 1 minute moments.
Yes.
I'll get tongue tied here, blah, 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 on television. And I think those are important because that gives the people a feel for what's going on in the community.
Yep.
That you don't know about sometimes because people come. They could be a politician, they could be someone who has an event. And again, they may or may not fit under all of the principles that we have, but they're welcome to come.
Yep.
To that. And I think that's very important. And I applaud the Tea Party because other Tea Parties have that also for people to get to know. I know I've gone up there, running for school board like I am again this year, and it just gives the indication and the help that people know in your community where you are, because again, the North Tea Party is out there, the East Tea Party, Metro Tea Party is out there.